Update 9 is going to be a hot mess. Sub to the channel to join the KXP Nation and to be part of the greatest nation on Earth. Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Update 9 News. And your favorite king has returned, King Royale. If you guys haven't done it yet, make sure to sub to the channel to show your support for the KXP Nation and be part of the best community on planet Earth. So here's what we got going for you today. We're going to talk about 3 different things here, okay? First up, we're going to be talking about champion classes, all right? Champion classes, followed by quirks, talents, and skins. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about general changes that they're going to make towards this update. And I hope you guys stay tuned for that because it's going to be super important for you guys to know before Update 9 drops. Okay, so first up, for champions classes, there won't be a hard class system in game. What that means is that they're not going to have element units as they have mentioned before, like Pokemon, where you have electric, ground, fire types. Direb unfortunately rejected O trademarks requests for having these elementals that could have proved to be very useful in the game and fun, and reintroducing a much better experience for all players. So there won't be a hard class system right there. Next up, we have some quirk combos will give instantly high hit or ability damage. From the last video that I mentioned, they're going to somewhat introduce these 2 types of units. It's going to be known as high hit, aka melee units, or ability damage, aka mage units. Okay, so in this case, they've mentioned that high hit damage melee units are going to be doing high average DPS. That's the pros. The cons is they're going to have increased cooldown time, which means they won't attack as often. For ability damage, aka mages, they're going to have ultimate attacks when unleashed. They're going to do high DPS, but not as high as the melee attack units. The pros is they're going to have reduced cooldown rates, which means they're going to be able to attack often. But the cons is their DPS is not going to be as high as the melee units, if that makes sense. Next up, we have choose how you want to set up each champion by going for specific quirks or skins. Very general, doesn't give us a lot to work with, and this is where, guys, we are the one-stop shop channel because we're going to be testing everything. We're going to have our work cut out for us, but hey, this is why we're here. This is why we're going to do it for you guys, so that way you guys can become bigger, faster, stronger in this community of Enemy Champions Simulator. All right, next up, we have new skin affixes allowing you to disable abilities for a champion in return for a large hit damage bonus. From my understanding, we're going to go here into this as an example, okay? So I'm thinking the way this is going to work, we're going to use the Cosmic of Perfection with the Gon skin here, okay? You're going to have critical damage 15, attack speed of 60, and damage of 120. Now, if I'm thinking about how this is going to work, what they're going to do is if you, let's say, if you click on this, okay? I'm sorry, if you click on this, attack speed, and it disables it, I believe that it's going to increase, it's going to cause for damage to increase as well as critical chance to increase. Now, if you take away critical chance, it's going to increase attack speed and attack damage, so on and so forth. So anytime you disable one of these abilities, they're going to increase the percentages elsewhere, which I think is going to be interesting. And this is where experimentation by design is going to be one of the things that's going to be part of this new update. Already love the grind, Direb. Love you for it. Next up, we have specializing into 1 damage type per champion will be best. My understanding, aka, I don't know why they're saying this. They're saying if you have all melee units, you're going to have 8x the damage, 6x the damage, maybe 2x more damage on top of your harmony. So I don't know how that's going to work. To me, that technically doesn't make any sense, but we're just going to have to wait for the update to come through to make sense of that specific statement. Next up, we have make sure your team has summoned both for optimal raid times and overworld grinding. That makes sense because if you have a little bit of variety, as they mentioned, then you're going to be able to do better in raids and you're going to be able to do with overall grinding because it's all about diversifying, aka being able to use different units from different worlds, which will give you a multiplier, which will reward you with more yen, more damage, more luck, so on and so forth. Next up, we have quirks, talents, and skins. Now, first thing, Quirks, talents, and skins will be additive with each other. Not enough information on that, but let's go on to the next one. Plus 50% damage from a quirk and a 50% damage from a skin, which will equal to 100% damage overall. What this means, guys, is that they're going to nerf this thing. This is what I think they're going to do. They're going to nerf this thing. So let's use this as an example, okay? But let's say Titan does 3x the damage overall, okay? Which is 300%. Now, with a skin, that 3x damage, which is 300, adds on to this, which will be 420. Now you do this right here, the second skin, it's going to make it 540, I believe. So 540% total damage, which is insane. 540% more damage just with those 3 equips alone. What they're saying is they're going to simplify it by just taking 50% of this and 50% of this, which will make it 100%, which means they're going to nerf your units, unfortunately. Which brings it to my next point here. No more confusing stat combos where some 50% are better than others. Again, they're looking to simplify it as much as possible. I hope they know what they're talking about and they know what they're doing, because if this goes south fast, you're going to have a lot of upset players in this game, and they might just leave you for Pet Simulator 99. And then last but not least, general buff to multipliers from quirk skins, etc. Very general, not a lot of information there. They're just going to buff the multipliers as is, whatever that means. Okay, so last thing on the agenda. All right, so general changes. What they're looking to do here, they're going to increase the level cap by plus 10. Next up, Golly units can no longer be opened. You can keep ones you already have, so get as many as you can before the update drops. Now, if you're a new player to this game, you're an intermediate or you're an advanced player, this is great for you. If you're an endgame player like myself, we don't really use godly mythics, guys, because we are in the cosmic business, because they do more damage than the average mythic out there, especially godly units. Next up, scaling champions accurately match the DPS of your units. So scaling champions, as an example, which is, if I can find him, Tail Beast. They're going to simplify this once again, so that way nobody gets confused with how this works, okay? So if you guys don't know how scaling champions work, if you equip them, if I equip this on my team right now, this is what it would look like. So it takes the strongest unit. They pretty much add everything here. They're going to make it super simple for you. They're going to accurately match the DPS of the units, I believe, as a whole. And then scaling champions are going to get increased base attack speed, which in this case, aka they're going to nerf the scaling champions. Well, guys, that concludes our update 9 news. This is your King signing off, telling you I will see you in the next video. Peace.